Hey everyone, welcome back to Basically Everything, where teens and Gen Z share their opinions and thoughts on the subjects that our world is confronting. We view these topics through different perspectives and hopefully inspire teens around the world to evolve with new insights. Without further ado, let's get into our episode.
Hey everyone, it's Rahul.
And I'm Akshat.
And I'm Bri.
And we're your hosts for this episode of Basically Everything.
Just a heads up, this episode will not be on time management. We're saving that topic for a future time. This episode is actually on loving yourself, a simple idea that takes more than a mountain to provoke.
We spend much of our time working, studying, learning, and spending the day of our own. But have you ever taken 5 minutes of your day just to reflect on yourself?
It's not much to ask, really. Out of the 24 hours of our day, taking at least 5 minutes to appreciate ourselves, approve of who we are, and to celebrate is a beautiful concept. And guess what? That's only the hard part. There are so many simple ways for us to appreciate ourselves in our daily lives. You may even simply be following them without realizing it.
Let's take a few seconds to think about what self-love means to us, since that's what today's topic's about.
From my point of view, self-love is acknowledging your value as a person and realizing that you are more important to yourself than anyone else.
For me, self-love is taking care of your mental health and also accepting your weaknesses, but not letting them stop you from growing and learning more.
To me, self-love simply means to care for and cherish who I am. So you guys might know a little bit about self-love, but there still might be a lot that you are wondering about and some questions that you require answered.
Now, the definition of self-love is, according to Merriam-Webster, is simply an appreciation of one's worth or virtue. In other words, self-love is recognizing and acknowledging yourself and your value.
Self-love is a process. It's not something that can happen overnight. A person has to dive deep and understand who they are and find things that help them love themselves more than they did before. Even the smallest changes in one's habits can have a major impact on how someone treats themselves.
Everyone has different habits, experiences, and perspectives on themselves and life in general, from as simple as the time they wake up to as complicated to their school and work lives.
Someone who doesn't recognize self-love could have a slower lifestyle than someone who does recognize it. For example, for someone who does, they're more likely to be productive since they recognize and appreciate the amount of work they have done and allow themselves to take breaks. And for someone who isn't satisfied with what they do, is likely to burn themselves out trying to improve.
Another thing that plays a major factor in how we treat ourselves is social media. Now, I can admit social media has affected me many times while I was trying to learn how to love myself, both negatively and positively. On social media, we compare ourselves with others, and often we are the biggest judge of ourselves. The first step to having a positive mindset about yourself is remembering that you are your person. We've all heard the saying, the grass is always greener on the other side.
I agree. Self-esteem also plays a key role in making us think badly about ourselves. I can say that sometimes when I'm on social media and I'm looking at other people showing off all their achievements, I tell myself, why didn't I do that?
I feel like another thing that happens a lot, whether it's on social media, in your friend group, or even at school among other people your age, is people only show the best side of themselves.
You're correct. Everyone is living a different life, different struggles, and we don't know what's happening behind the scenes in their life. We just see the best thing of their day and tend to compare it with ourselves.
What do you mean by that?
A lot of the time, you compare the worst side of yourself to the best side of others. Say your friend got a gold medal at a swim meet, and they end up having an award put in a school trophy case or something. You will only see the part where they earned a gold medal, and you'll be like, they're so talented and amazing. How come I don't have a gold medal? But things that you may not see is the number of times they failed or got second place before finally achieving something great that they're proud of.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Yes, and let me ask you this. Did you ever read a book or an article about Thomas Edison's famous invention, the light bulb? Because we always see the destination of how someone got to where they are, not the journey. Fun fact, he failed more than 1,000 times. Another way to express what I'm trying to pull out is that sometimes we only see the makeup presented by the artist.
I see. And I feel like this lowers people's self-esteem and they don't focus on that part of their lives. I mean, even though it's only an example, the kid who won a gold medal may be thinking, I got lucky and I didn't earn that medal.
But this could have a damaging impact on people over time though, right? I mean, if you constantly focus on the achievements of others, you'll end up losing hope for yourself.
Exactly, which is why it's really important to compare similar parts of yourself and other people. Say you're extremely smart and your friend is athletic. What matters is that you both are talented and hardworking.
That's a really good way to put it. This may seem ironic, but the first step in loving yourself more is admitting that you think and do stuff that you know you don't love about yourself. After that, you really can try to make improvements in your thinking and daily routines that make you feel good about yourself and remove the things that don't.
Yup, meditating is one really good way to become more aware of your thoughts.
When you notice yourself saying something negative or pushing yourself down, try to take a deep breath and word it differently so it makes you feel better. I remember a friend telling me that you don't need to react negative to negative thoughts. Instead, use that moment as an opportunity to make a healthier habit, or in other words, channel that anger to something productive and beneficial.
For example, before a big test, instead of saying, I will fail this, you can say, what can I do to feel more confident and make this test less stressful? As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Also, be happy with what you've accomplished. I'm guilty of this too, but many times we feel as if it's not that big of a deal. But everything you work hard for should be commended. Instead of saying, I did well on this test only because it was super easy, you should say, I did well on this test because I made it seem easy.
Last but not least, you should reward yourself and take breaks. Taking a break isn't quitting, and it's not a waste of time. After a break, you're probably more likely to be more productive and perform better than just forcing yourself and pushing yourself to make it through in one go.
These changes are hard, guys. I'm not going to lie. But we must treat not only others, but ourselves with the respect and praise we deserve every day of our lives.
Happiness is a choice. Even though others play a major role in our life, we decide how we react and feel about something.
Recognizing self love also encourages people to become more extroverted and makes you a more outgoing person because your mindset is focused around the only person who needs to accept you is yourself, not others. Less confidence puts you at a risk of introverting yourself, which can be a bad thing because you can become less talkative with others, you can be less involved with events and activities, and you're going to have fewer people to turn to. This happens because you are afraid that others are going to judge you, which restricts the amount of times you hang out with others.
Getting into the specifics, there are many things we do in our daily lives that prove we love ourselves. However, we don't often realize the importance of those actions. For instance, taking a shower every day. Many of us take two, which is even better. Taking showers relieves stress and relaxes our nerves and reduces any tension in our muscles. This plays a crucial role in our mental and physical health.
One thing that I do is I write in a journal almost every day. I actually recently began a 30-day self-discovery journal to find out more about myself. I've heard that if you can't express yourself with words, then write it down. Soon, you'll find yourself writing more than you expected.
That's actually a pretty nice idea. Something that I personally do to sort of cool off and disconnect during the good weather is going outside and spending some time playing basketball with my friends. This is a really good way to get better at what I like to do, exercise, and have fun all at the same time. After doing this, I feel better because it reminds me that there are still things I can do without stressing myself out.
I can say that I enjoy running outside. During this pandemic, I've struggled to find a good time and place to run. But whenever it's sunny outside and there's minimal snow, I grasp the opportunity and make the best out of it. Even running for 30 minutes a day proves my self love by expressing my hobby and passion.
As we've mentioned before, some people enjoy and reward themselves after working hard, while some don't recognize their efforts. With that does come some consequences.
What types of consequences?
Well, you can be both mentally and emotionally distraught. It can affect your everyday life, including the relationships you have with people. By not loving yourself, a person can struggle to create something for themselves and become lost on how to be happy because they're forgetting about their own needs.
These people are also subject to doing things that they otherwise wouldn't normally do. People with low self esteem and minimal self love often turn to things that make them feel better, such as alcohol, smoking, vaping, and other things that have a bad effect on you, physically and mentally.
However, loving yourself must yield positives, am I right?
Yes, we love the positives. Loving yourself can improve your health, your motivation, your willingness to participate, a stronger resilience, and it just makes you want to become a better person, not for anyone else, but for yourself. And that's the most important idea of all. Self-love is all you, no one else.
I agree. But what can one person do to begin to find self love?
There's a lot that someone can do, but it really does have to be something that they want to do and something that works for them. For example, something that I enjoy doing is I put post-it notes on my wall behind my door and I deleted all of social media to focus on me and my mental health. It's not necessarily important to leave all social media. This was just a personal choice. But by seeing those post-it notes every day, it's a constant reminder of the things that just make me feel good about myself. And by not having social media, it's also forced me to do other things than be on my phone. And it's honestly helped me try new hobbies such as crafts, learning a new language, and even practicing the guitar more.
That's so cool. What else can someone do?
There are a lot more ideas since the previous ideas mentioned may not be for everyone. So you can learn some new recipes since food is always great to have. You could also try drawing, finding some new music to listen to, creating playlists that explain the different moods you may have throughout the day, trying something you've never done before, rearranging your room, or even meditating. The options are endless.
I really like how there's so many things that you can do. When you think about it, there's always something for everyone.
What's even more amazing is that there are hundreds and thousands of resources available to us to help understand self love even before doing things. One significant resource is Self Love by Shannon Kaiser. This self help book is on 15 principles for becoming more kind, compassionate, and accepting of ourselves. Mrs. Kaiser walks us through a simple plan that compassionately guides us through the process of removing fear based thoughts so we can all fall in love with life. Another wonderful book, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. This book helps us realize and understand that we're more than what we think of ourselves to be. She delivers this message to her readers, and I quote, "Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are." These are some books that I've read, but you can find so many others.
And with the way that the world is now, it is the perfect time to get a good book in.
Well, not only can you read a book, but you can also work on your self love through your relationships with other people.
Well, how can you do that?
One way to do this is you can start by having people who constantly have your back and only want what is good for you. And you should also be open to them about how you feel. Sometimes you need that extra support from other people.
Yeah, I agree with that. When you have people who support you, it becomes easier to appreciate yourself.
Not only will it help you, but it could help others as well.
So it's like a win-win situation?
Yes, naturally, when a person receives gratitude, they'll feel the need to return the favor and be grateful and show gratitude to that person who showed it to them. So, something a person could do is to do the same thing that was done to them by being a supportive friend. There are many ways you can do this.
Of course, one way to be supported by a friend is by simply talking to them about what's happening. A lot of the times when someone asks you, "Are you okay?" we don't respond with the truth. By talking about what is bothering you, you can get a load off your chest and get a second opinion on your worries.
I agree. And another thing that could help is if you share experiences that you're not that comfortable with sharing. One thing that I sometimes worry about is when my friends cancel on like a movie or say they're too busy to hang out with me. I really wonder if that's the case or if they're just not interested in hanging out with me. I know that if I knew other people were going through the same thing as I was, I would feel a lot better.
You know, I feel the same way. Sometimes I wish I would have known that trusting people is something you should always take caution to, because I've had multiple experiences where trusting someone went downhill and it led me to being unsure about my friends saying certain things to me, like I have to cancel or maybe another time. But once you find those good friends and you can really trust them, you won't have to worry about that. And in my life today, I can say that I have those type of friends.
Now, I know this might seem like an obvious idea, but if you're feeling down and you're struggling with the feeling of loving for yourself, you should talk to a professional, such as a counselor or even a therapist.
And as the old saying goes, people change people. Many people in your life can help you discover self-love and higher your self-esteem. But these people have spent years and years researching, learning, and exploring this idea. And they are the most reliable ones who can really help you out of a tough spot in your life.
That's true. And I can tell you that firsthand. I used to think that counselors and therapists were cliches and you don't really need them to be happy. But one time last year in seventh grade, when I was having a rough time, I talked to a counselor. And let me tell you, they actually help a lot. They can help you create a plan of action to help you be happier without any crazy, over the top ideas that make it seem unnecessary to even try. Even if you're not sure about it, it does never hurt to try, right?
I completely agree with you. Now, let's talk about some ideas you can follow to help love yourself more than ever. I know we've already discussed it a few times, but let's stick with that for now.
Sweet.
My advice is don't be afraid to talk to others around you, even though you may not know them. It's nice to keep an interaction. Be confident in yourself, always, always, always. What I mean by this, or an example of this, is talking to a peer whom you don't know much about. By the way, this is an example from experience. They may be in one of your classes, but you have almost no interaction with them. Getting to know them better can help you feel more confidence, hence, building self love.
Some advice I would like to give is to write at least 2 to 3 things that you're proud of every day, almost like a reflection. When you do that, you can start to understand what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And it can even give you new ideas of things to do. It is just a great way to improve yourself and allow yourself to become the best you possible.
I would tell someone who's feeling down or less confident in themselves is remember, the person whose opinions matter the most to you is your own thoughts and feelings. If you ever feel uneasy, remember, everyone else is probably feeling that way too. You're not alone. And like Akshat said, talking about your experiences will help you become more confident with the idea of them.
Guys, those are great ideas. In fact, they're motivating me right now. A tip I have is to place motivational quotes or notes around yourself and others. This can be a quote which you like or follow or even feels inspired by, or even something that makes you feel better about yourself. This is a slow progress for me, and I can see it's helping me tremendously. Okay, that sentence did sound quite confusing. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that I've been reading and watching more motivational quotes and videos. Not quite often, but sometimes I like to engage myself within them. The quote on my laptop's screen wallpaper by Albert Einstein. Give me a second to pull that up. Okay, here we go. Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, and intelligent people ignore. I find this motivational because it tells me how I am. Am I reactive or proactive? I'm not necessarily saying that everyone should follow this. I'm just giving you one of my ideas that I find helpful sometimes.
One thing that I do to make sure that I'm not too harsh on myself is to give myself little breaks and rewards after accomplishing things. Say if I have to finish doing my math homework or filling in an assignment for English, I give myself little rewards like 30-minute breaks or watching TV for an hour. So I have the motivation to finish my work. But also, it helps me take care of myself by not doing an unhealthy amount of work at one time.
I would like to point out the importance of being able to say no to others and saying yes to self-care. What I mean by that is that it's okay to tell your friends, no, I don't want to go out, or no, I don't want to have company, because you would just prefer to sit in the house and relax, or do the things you like to do. It is never a bad thing to want to spend time by yourself. You should want to spend time by yourself, because those are the times you can really take a break from the world and live in your world for a minute.
I have to say, it's important to reward yourself for even the smallest accomplishment. When we accomplish something, it's important to take that into account of our happiness because everything you do takes your own time and effort. What I do sometimes is that if I receive a grade that I was aiming for and am proud of on a quiz or even a test, I would definitely cook something that I enjoy or even give myself some more free time. It's like compromising with yourself. It's quite funny, actually. However, I do find it helpful and motivational to do better in the future. As you can see, this is another way to be kind to yourself.
These are just mere actions that we can take to love ourselves. Loving yourself is not easy, but it is like any other skill. You have to practice it often and not let obstacles prevent you from mastering this beautiful idea. Because once you do, it will take you a long way in life.
All in all, I think you should remember this. Everyone is too busy thinking about what others think of them to judge you. However, you know yourself the best and shouldn't turn a blind eye to your accomplishments and how far you've come. By all means, don't ignore your faults because they are good lessons. But please, don't ignore your successes because they are good memories.
As we come towards the end of this episode, I would like to announce that we will be hosting a 7-day self-care challenge on Instagram as well as our website, all linked in the description. Every day we will post one task to encourage you to take a moment for yourself and reflect on your feelings afterwards. Hopefully this challenge will inspire you and to pursue the concept of self-love. We will begin this challenge on February 14th or 15th and be ready.
Once again, we can't express this enough, but thank you everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode on self-love, and make sure to follow us on all our social media accounts and check out our website, all linked in the description.
Please stay tuned for our next episode on time management with our guest speaker, Rahul Soccer, which we will be releasing around the end of February.
As always, stay safe, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
But before we end, I'd like to leave you all with this famous and inspirational quote by @Positivity. Love yourself first, because that's who you'll be spending the rest of your life with.